All right, let's go ahead and get into the waivers.
Put me in, coach.
All right, where do you want to start? You want to start with wide receivers?
Let's start with wide receivers. I feel like they're the most juicy pickups this week.
They often are, unless there's a major injury at the running back position. Speaking of major injuries, though, Julian Edelman is gone. Poof.
And he was kind of a running back through the air. Runs through the air with Bill Belichick.
On
they
that
hold hands.
On that team, that you're right. So Danny Amendola thrust into the spotlight, showed us a little of what to expect last week when Edelman went out, because he went out early. And Amendola was 10 for 79. Yeah. And he's 21% owned in leagues right now. I am shooting myself for not signing him last week when I lost Dion Lewis, because my head told me Amendola is the guy to grab. And wait, was that my heart?
I think your roster position requirements told you it need to be James White.
I felt like I had to substitute running back for running back, and I kind of regret it because I'd rather have Amendola. And I did not foresee an injury coming, obviously, but this is a big deal. So would you sign him, A, and how high of a priority? And then B, is he start worthy this week?
Yes, I would sign him. I would put him as my first priority, depending on situation, right? And that's something everyone listening, we give the best advice we can, but everybody listening, you need to take what we say and then look at your team and make the right decisions.
Yeah, filter it through your league, your matchups. What do you need?
Do you need a running back? Do you need a guy for this week, or do you need a guy for long term? Because even in wide receiver, that changes. So that goes to question B. I think he has a great week this week against Buffalo. I would play him. I would start him. I wouldn't worry about this. Here's a little bit of Danny Amendola. Okay. He scores 1.6 fantasy points. This isn't a half-point PPR. 1.6 fantasy points. Is that good or bad?
Poor.
Okay. Dion Lewis was there for that game. Then the next game, he scores 14. Good or bad?
Good.
Good. Dion Lewis wasn't there. 18.6. Good? Bad? Pretty good. Yeah. Dion Lewis wasn't there. Oh, Dion Lewis comes back. He gets 1.6.
Yep.
Then 5.3.
Yeah.
Oh, Dion Lewis goes down.
12.9. Yeah.
I mean, it's like
there's a correlation, because that short, quick passing game, what Brady needs to do, I mean, he cannot, much to my own fantasy team's chagrin, he cannot throw to Gronkowski on every single play.
Yeah, and so, Amendola, great guy to have. He's going to have his bad games, but he can be one of those guys you get off of waivers that could put up a 25-point game and really win you a week. So he's got to be, for me, I would have him as my top waiver priority this week.
I agree with you completely. He's on a powerful offense, an offense on an undefeated team that has to kind of remake itself a little bit without Edelman and Lewis, and he's going to be a key cog. Brady loves him. He said he always makes big plays, which has been the case, and now he's going to have to do it more consistently. So I look for Amendola to fill in the gap mostly there. LaFell's target should increase, if not, be fairly consistent. So Kamar Aiken is on our waiver wire pickup list because he's only owned in 45% of leagues.
Yeah, still the majority of leagues have him on waivers. Now
7 catches last week, his season high, no Steve Smith.
Yep, and that's what's going to happen. He's going to average 10 targets a game from here on out the rest of the season, which is just unheard of finding that on the waivers, because you don't really get wide receiver ones for an NFL team on the waivers. You can get him. So here's the difference between Danny Amendola and Kamar Aiken. Do you need a guy for this week and you need a spot start? Then I would go with Danny Amendola. He can be plugged in your lineup.
Much better matchup. In fact, Kamar Aiken might be involved in a new segment tomorrow. Ooh.
Just a little spoiler for our Wednesday show, our revamped Wednesday show. So,
yes.
But Kamar Aiken, rest of season, if you need a wide receiver that you can rely on from here on out, I would put Aiken actually above Amendola.
Would you? I was going to ask that.
Just because I expect more targets and more consistency. Amendola, I still think, is going to have his up games and his down games, and it's going to be really hard to predict, as it always is with the Patriots, because you just don't know what Uncle Billy's going to do.
Uncle Billy.
Yeah. I am Bill Belichick's nephew.
Uncle Billy's always got new ideas up in that head.
Yeah, and that is also a lie. Okay, so...
All right. Michael Floyd flashed on Sunday Night Football in a big way.
Huge way.
But then it was marred by a hamstring injury.
Yeah, he would have gone for, you know.
He would have had 2 or 3 more catches at least because Jerron Brown came in and took those. Floyd, 7 for 113, 2 touchdowns on the radar. And just to make it more obvious, his relevance, John Brown decided to go 0.
Yeah,
just
he's
goose
egg. That's what I was going to bring up. It seems to me that Michael Floyd has overtaken that number 2 spot. Bruce Arians actually said
and John Brown's
that
been
would
banged
happen.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, even before Floyd got back, he basically said that Floyd was going to take that spot and that John Brown would go to that wide receiver 3. We weren't sure if that was true, but it seemed to happen. So if he's healthy, definitely a valuable add. I would grab him on the waivers behind those guys.
Yeah, and you need to monitor his injury situation for the upcoming game because he's a Sunday night game against Cincinnati this week. And so starting him, you need to watch practice reports and listen to the show.
Yeah, so let's go deeper. Let's say you're in a league that's super competitive. Those guys have been on my teams for weeks.
Yeah, and that's your voice.
That's
only those people.
Yeah, I'm a competitive fantasy football player. You think Danny Amendola is available in my league? You got me crazy.
It's a 16-team league.
Yeah.
All right, so going deeper, Dwayne Harris is somebody I want to bring up on the show because I don't want to ignore production. You might ignore depth chart spot. You might ignore, different things about his target numbers and consistency of catches.
But Andy.
Voice of public opinion.
But Andy, Hakeem Nicks was just signed. Won't that hurt from Dwayne Harris?
No, voice of public opinion. It won't hurt. Hakeem Nicks has been retired in physical form for 4 years.
I think Hakeem Nicks plays as good or better than Victor Cruz did this year.
I completely agree. That's a water bet. You want to?
Yeah.
But Dwayne Harris, let me give you some numbers. All right. He's had games this year, 5 receptions, 6 receptions. Against New England last week, 6 for 82 and a touchdown. 3 weeks ago against New Orleans, 2 touchdowns. Okay. He's being involved. Now, he's got a couple games in there that make you really not want to start him. Over the last 7 weeks, he's had 5 double-digit games and then 2 games that were basically goose eggs. So you're playing with fire a little bit, but I don't want to ignore production. He's got a bye, so maybe you wait. I don't think you got to go. He'll be ignored in a lot of leagues. So if you need a start in the future in the right matchup, just keep him on your radar. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, good one, Andy. You think Dwayne Harris is available in my league? Go deeper.
Whoa.
Go deeper.
Really
Dwayne Harris been taken for 3 weeks.
All right. I guess we have to talk about Jacksonville's wide receivers if something goes on with Allen Hurns.
Yeah, and then we can go real deep.
Yeah, you got Marquise Lee activated last week.
He had a bad game last week, but that was his first game back for a while, and he was the 3rd wide receiver, right? So if Allen Hurns is gone and he is out of this game, you also have what's his face? Is Brian Walters?
What's his face is his actual name.
What's his face is his actual name.
You do? You have Brian Walter?
Who has been in that 3rd spot. He has a concussion. So you literally might not have your 2nd and your 3rd. So if you're looking for a spot start.
The guy's Marquise Lee.
Yeah, Marquise Lee is the guy.
And with a background of, pay attention to Rashad Green.
Yeah, Rashad Green, rookie, had a great week 1.
7 catches in week 1.
Yeah, 10 targets.
People are like, who's
week
Rashad
1.
Green?
Yeah, he's a rookie, and he was a 5th-round pick, I believe. He had a good coming-on party and then got injured. But
a coming-on party?
Well, I don't know.
It's a coming-out party.
Coming-out party. All right. He had a coming-out party on week 1.
Coming-on party. Whew. I don't think that's the party we want to be talking about.
Getting derailed here. But he is back. There's a chance he's not even activated this week. This is just the first week he can be activated. So Marquise Lee, if Allen Hurns is out, if you're a Hurns owner and you want a start for your Thursday night game, grab him, and I think I would be confident starting him if Hurns was out.
My biggest worry about Hurns being out is the impact it has on Bortles because obviously the touchdown numbers have been there for Hurns every week. Where do those go? Julius Thomas hasn't been involved very much. Is it going to be Marquise Lee? It could be. You're going to always put your best guy on Allen Robinson and let the chips fall where they may on that offense. And if Yeldon's gone as well.
If you lose Yeldon, your wide receiver 2 and your wide receiver 3, I don't think you put your best guy on Allen Robinson. I think you put your best 2 guys on Allen Robinson. You just take him out of the game, in which case Thursday night, which seems like a juicy matchup of, Blake Bortles has been throwing a lot of yards. I think it could be a trap game where it's a really low-scoring affair on a short week. And
this is Jaguar talk week.
Yeah.
Jag Talk with Jason and Andy. All right, you've got another guy that I hope has a coming on party on Thursday. Dorial Green Beckham.
Hey, I like that pick. He's a good pick. Here's why.
Justin Hunter.
gone.
Fractured ankle.
Kendall Wright. He was a limited participant in practice, so he might be back. But if he's still out, Dorial Green Beckham was hot this last week, and he put up 0 catches for 0 yards and will be going back on the waivers to many a person. But people don't realize that was the Josh Norman effect against Carolina. He shuts down the best, and Dorial Green Beckham is not the best. So if those other 2 wide receivers are gone, I like DGB this week.
I agree with you, but would you start him over Kamar Aiken?
Yes,
this week against Aiken goes up against the Rams. He's got Jenkins.
Yep, I would start DGB. Now that's
interesting.
That's assuming that Kendall Wright is not.
I have that decision to make in one of my leagues.
Yep. Well,
so you're trying to help me out. All right, couple other guys. Just want to mention them. If Golden Tate has slipped onto your waiver wire, I'd pay attention to him a little bit. He's got a good matchup this week against Oakland. Also, Lance Moore keeps scoring touchdowns, so I think I like Tate more than Moore, but
he gets more targets, and you just can't predict those touchdowns.
Yeah.
So you got to go with Tate.
And then I want to mention the number 2 in Baltimore now, Chris Givens, who's building some rapport with Joe Flacco. This week, honestly, if Kamar Aiken gets the number 1 DB in St. Louis, Chris Givens might have some targets. But what we've seen from Flacco is that he tends to dump the ball to the running back or the fullback or the Crockett Gilmores of the world, which we'll bring up. And at that point in time, I just don't know how much you could – but deeper leagues.
Yeah.